Hello, the watch I'm showing you here is the Timex E-Instruments watch. There are many E-Instruments watch. This particular watch has a compass, it has a temperature sensor, and it also has a tide gauge, believe it or not. And they're all controlled electronically by this fourth hand that you see here. Obviously it keeps the time and date with a little date window there. Normal, very large hands with a second hand. It's quartz movement. This watch has a dual or bi-directional rotating bezel, and it is made to use the compass. I'll show you how this works. First of all, this button controls the tide gauge, and you can see when I press it, the gauge resets itself and marks tide. Low tide is at the bottom, marked by low. High tide at the top, obviously. And so this gauge will rotate once you've set it for the tide near the area that you want to check, and it will keep track of that. Obviously the tide varies a little bit, so you may want to adjust it from time to time. At least that's what Timex says. The temperature gauge is activated by this button here. You press it, the fourth hand will reset itself again and go to the temperature. It looks like it's about 71 degrees, just the way I like it. And that temperature will change. It goes up to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit and down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And it also has a Celsius scale. The feature that I think is the most interesting is the electronic compass. And I'm just going to press this button here on the lower left, and it activates the compass. You can see it's pointing towards magnetic north. Turn the watch, the compass adjusts itself. And you can then use the slide rule, if you know how to use a compass, and determine the direction you're going. I'm going southwest, according to this. And then, of course, you can return to temperature or tide mode. This watch, condition-wise, is practically brand new. It is a returned item. I think it's safe to say it was worn a couple of times. You can see no marks really on the band. You can see the underside is bent a little bit from the curvature of a wrist. You can see that's probably the hole that it was that the band was used with. This is water-resistant leather. The outside finish is what I'd call a nubuck. Some people would call it a suede, but it's not furry like suede. It's really soft, like a nubuck. If you've ever had a pair of shoes that's nubuck leather, that's what this reminds me of. The crystal is completely scratch-free, as you can see. The case is really nice, and if you put this on your wrist, it doesn't overpower the wrist, but it feels really substantial, really nice to have on your wrist. And the colors of the buttons are even color painted. Black here for the compass, black over here for the tide gauge, and then red for the temperature gauge. And of course it has a pull-out stem, and it has ways to adjust that. This watch also has the instruction manual with it. Really nice watch, and in fantastic shape. I would say it's 9.9 on a scale to 10. I wouldn't call it a 10 just because you can tell that the watch is curved. It looks like it has been worn just a bit, but no major issues. Retail price for this watch is about $160 locally here where I live, and so that kind of gives you an idea of what it runs. Once again, E-Compass watch by Timex, quartz movement with a fourth hand that tracks the compass, the tides, and the temperature. Thanks for looking.